All right, so let's get started. And for the people who are still trickling in, they can join in and also listen to the recording, which I promise I'll be uploading at some point. All right, so let's get started with this year's first community call, first Nym community call, which is going to be even more prestigious and beautiful and wonderful than all the other community calls that you guys have already attended that previous year, which feels like it was a million years ago. So some quick changes before anything else. As you may notice, I don't have with me on stage today Ismail, my usual co-host for these community calls. That is because it was just getting way too much for all the disappointment that he's been causing to our community with the elevator music missing every single time. So we decided to not continue working with him. No, that's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a joke. Ismail is taking some time off, so that's why he is not co-hosting. He asked me to take a break from co-hosting these community calls, and in the meantime, I started thinking about how to make it into an actual community call. So how do I put the community in the call? So that's what we're doing today. We are actually hosting this community call with my two new co-hosts, who are both community members, just to bring the whole call, this whole experience, a bit closer to the Nym community itself. So turn it from just me as a representative of Nym talking to you guys into actually engaging our community in a more meaningful way. So on that note, I would like to introduce my two new co-hosts, starting with Vesta, because ladies first. Hi, Vesta. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? Super excited to be here. And yeah, just excited. I've been following and lurking in and around Nym for some years now, and to do the Shipyard Academy and come a few steps closer has just been really cool.
Awesome to have
Um,
you on, and from
Thank you.
now on, we're gonna have a stable way of actually having a female voice every time on this call, which I'm super excited about. It's not gonna be the sausage fest as it sometimes was throughout the past year. So that's just this added special bonus of having you on. I'm super excited
Wonderful.
about that.
Thank you.
And moving on to Hux, aka Donny. Say a few words about yourself, sir. How's it going?
I was wondering to start with my female voice or my male voice, but I'm super good. Thanks for inviting me to do this together with you guys. Super excited too. I love to talk. I always wanted to be on a regular radio show, which is a dream of mine coming true. So I couldn't be more happy to use my radio voice and talk about interesting, cool stuff and to conspire and co-hack and all that.
Exactly. So that is going to happen from this point forward every Friday with these two lovely people. But as usual, we also have a guest who's not a host but just a guest who I'm super excited about. So today I have with me, or today we have with us Evelina, who's our new integrations engineer. Hi, Evelina.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Very nice to meet you all.
It's awesome to have you on it. I'm super excited about this call. You were actually a pleasant surprise because you joined the team while I was gone on holiday. So I didn't even know that you joined. And as it turns out, you're doing something incredibly interesting. So I can't wait to talk to you about that a little bit. But before we do that, let's run through our quick news roundup as usual. Now, guys, this is not going to be a complete news roundup by any means because it's been, I think, 3, maybe 4 weeks since the previous community call. So it's been quite a while, and a lot has happened even with all the holidays that people were taking on the team. Still, a lot has happened. So we're just going to be basically running through some of the bigger, more important news items for this past month or so. And with that, I will hand over to Vesta. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so 2022 was one hell of a year for Nym, as you guys know, and there was a blog post released right towards the end. I'm just going to drop that in the community channel pretty soon. But big things happened for Nym. The Mixnet went live. We had the wallet launch, the Shipyard Academy, among many other things. The Universal Privacy Alliance, and there are way more exciting things happening this year. And so all of that is mentioned in the blog post. And yeah, we've got to get ready for what's to come. And I'm going to pass it on to Danny.
Hey, thank you. The first news item with my list today is the wonderful Nym partnership with Biri, which basically enables anyone to purchase native Nym tokens from the Nym wallet without KYC. It just warms my heart as somewhat of a non-toxic BTC maxi myself that this is possible already on the current software versions, which was 1.1.5. And the next news, which is somewhat related, it's that there's a new, let's say, regularly happening or occurring call on Discord, which is called the Nym DevRel Ask Me Anything. It has kicked off last year, and we already had an AMA this year too, and it's fantastic, where we discuss all the latest developments, and the DevRel, Max and his team answering all our questions, what we have. So make sure to attend the next one if you're interested in hacking things on the Mixnet, in the Mixnet, around the Mixnet. And one of the key takeaways from the last AMA was that there's a new shiny, crispy developer portal coming soon, which is going to contain all the important information around development and hacking in Nym in one place. And what's really warms my heart related to this is that it's not just going to be like a very somewhat dry GitHub super technical document repository, but it's rather going to be in a way to make sure that it's human-centered and creating the nicest experience for all our beloved hackers, developers, and even robot friends, regardless of what what planet or what developing angle they're coming from. And I think with that, I give you back the word Sudo, because you still owe us something. Tell us what you owe us.
Indeed, I do. As usual, in usual Sudo/Simon fashion, I haven't uploaded all the recordings that I owe you guys. They're sitting on my computer currently. So both DevRel AMAs that we had so far, so one was late last year and the other one was this Wednesday, will be uploaded to our YouTube channel as usual. And also I'm probably going to be creating a new DevRel AMA specific playlist for these, because it is going to be a bi-weekly thing. Every second Wednesday, so I thought maybe it's better if I create the new playlist rather than uploading it to the community call playlist, just to separate things out. So I pinky promise I'm going to do that along with the recording of this very community call that you're listening to right now. And with that, with my moving on to my first news item for you guys. So the Test and Earn winners have been announced. So just a quick recap on Test and Earn. As you may know, I guess many of you even participated in Test and Earn. It was another Nym Connect testing program that we launched. So basically, there were these like little creative tasks that people could complete to enter a raffle, where that I think the total prize pool was about 40,000 Nym tokens, and that will be distributed among the winners. So the winners have been selected, and if you're a winner, you already know that by now by opening Nym Connect and clicking the Test and Earn button at the bottom, where you were also getting the tasks throughout the Test and Earn program. So just check there, and if you happen to be a winner, first of all, congratulations. We received some great submissions, so thanks for everyone for participating. And the instructions for winners have been shared on Twitter and also on Telegram in one of the most recent pin messages. That's on Telegram, and on Twitter in one of our most recent tweets. So just check on our Twitter or our Telegram for further information.
Yo, Sudo, can I ask something related to this? Because
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I left a comment in one of the dev channels, I think People Apps. There are many people who tested and didn't win. They kind of missed a message saying that, hey guys, you didn't win this time, but keep testing with us. So is that something that you think is possible to do and to communicate to all other testers that they didn't win this time? Or is a far-fetched dream?
No. That's actually a pretty good idea. We'll definitely look into that because it makes sense. Yeah,
fantastic.
We'll look into that. All right, and the last news item is a quick update for our NIMF testing participants and Shipyard Academy participants. So as you may know, we actually started collecting information for KYC for NIMF testnet participants, but bureaucracy is the strangler and killer of everything good in this world. And the whole testnet reward distribution process was no exception to that. But fortunately, all of the hurdles are now out of the way. So we're going to be performing a huge round of KYC for both Shipyard Academy winners and also everybody who got a reward through Shipyard Academy, and NIMF testnet participants and also test and earn winners. So stay tuned for updates when it comes to that. Please keep an eye on our channels, and you're going to be receiving some information about KYC. One very important thing is that we need to have your correct email address. So we collected email addresses from both NIMF testnet participants and also Shipyard Academy participants for this reason, so that we can reach out to you regarding KYC and your rewards. So If we don't have the right email address, then we may need to actually reach out to you and get your correct email address because the process will happen via email. So stay tuned for that, and please keep an eye on both our Telegram channels and also our Discord. And with that out of the way, we're moving on to our guest today, who, like I said, I'm super excited to have on today. So we're going to be talking to Evelina, who is the new Nym integration specialist, integration engineer. Apologies for that. Hey, Evelina, how is it going?
Hi, everybody. Going really good. Was working actually on the specific integration that I'm developing for Nym right now. So I stopped it and enjoying this community call and the weekend that will come.
I'm so sorry about ruining your workflow or getting into flow with that little 10-minute meeting that we had. You have your own process of getting into flow, right? For these working sessions.
Yes, because as a person, I'm both technical and also at base I'm formed as a .NET developer, but I also have skills in different other areas like business development, communication, and so on. I do not mind being interrupted. However, in the moment when I start to code something, I need to get down the rabbit hole, as I call it, or in the zone, something like that. So I just put myself some very loud music in my headphones and I just start coding. So this is why when I refer to my flow process, is just getting in that zone of just coding and seeing purely code and where the mind produces just thoughts in the purest sense.
Can I ask what music you listen to so loud, Evelina? Hey, super nice to be here with you.
Hi, nice to meet you. Usually trance, chill outs, a lot of Buddha bar and this techno, more on that type of music. I just need really loud technical music in order to keep my thoughts trains on just one aspect.
Don't be shy to share some good techno music links with us in the community call text channel, please.
Oh, I will keep in mind that.
Thank
you. So I'd love to ask you the first question, just because your background is really interesting, Evelina. Can you tell us, how did you get into Web3 B2B integrations?
Yeah, actually, it's quite a long journey. I didn't got directly into Web3 B2B integration. I actually got first into Web2 B2B integration. So as I previously mentioned, at base, I'm formed as a .NET developer. However, me as a person, I couldn't spend 8 hours a day only coding. So this is why I didn't find quite my professional niche for a while. However, around 6-7 years ago, something like that, this niche of integration has emerged in the market because it's a quite new niche, and a lot of organizations around do acknowledge the need of having a liaison, let's say, between different businesses that wants to integrate their products in order to grow an entire ecosystem. However, each one of them do not know exactly what does it mean integration. So it's a quite new niche in Web 2 as well in Web 3. And in Web 3, actually, I think it has around 2 years since this niche of integration has emerged. And I made the jump. So this is how I arrived in Web 3 B2B integrations. I made the jump from Web 2 integration, so on Web 2 product softwares, into Web3 integration. So I have started learning and assimilating blockchain technology, and this is how I ended up making the switch and working actually on this particular niche of integration on Web3.
And
That's really cool.
sorry. So, and we already talked about your process getting into the flow, which we may actually talk about offline a little bit because I personally need quite a bit of help with that. I'm a very easily distractible person. But when it comes to integration engineering, what does it look like in terms of methods and so what actually happens when you're doing your job?
It's very diverse. So it wouldn't have a definition because each of the organization with which I have collaborated till now and even currently, different organization has different niche in what it let's say, relate to integration. So it wouldn't be possible to have a very specific definition. It's just it needs, let's say, persons or a group of persons that have also technical knowledge, because a lot of my work is a developer work, but as well as some other skills. And the process is it's themselves, they aren't similar of one integration to another. So some integrations might be, let's say, using pure coding. Other integrations can use low-code platforms and different other self-developed internally by different company tools. So it isn't quite a niche in which you can put a definition. However, it does require a very large flexibility and fluidity in terms of technical languages of coding and different tools of being used and processes and so on. Hope that answer at least partially to your question.
I think it did partially answer the question, but we have to go one level deeper, at least for my interest, or for many of our interest. That I must ask you the big question of all this field of possibilities and tools and approaches. What can you tell us more about? What are you going to do in Nym and with the Nym Mixnet and MetaMask?
Yes, so my main focus at Nym would be wallet integrations. I have done this type of integrations even for other organizations. This is why I come with some background on this experience from other third parties, not particularly on Nym Tech. So Nym Tech will be it, and it is something new for me. So my main focus would be wallet integrations, and currently the one that I'm focusing is the MetaMask integration, as you mentioned. So the, let's say, main focus of the integration is to be able to give MetaMask users the possibility to have privacy in terms of their usage of the MetaMask in sending transactions, sending messages, and other, let's say, things that they want to do through MetaMask. However, having that layer of protection that Nym offers.
Thank you for that. Can I ask one thing, because there was a funny thing happening, I think in November, where we all kind of participated in the Shipyard Academy, and we've seen these first tweets from MetaMask and consensus how they're going to use our data, and then many of the Shipyard pupils back then went on Twitter and kind of urged MetaMask to to consider using, for example, a mixnet like Nym. So did that do anything, or was that connected to how you ended up with here with us, or is just unrelated? Thank you if you can answer. Thank you.
From my knowledge, I don't know if it was related or not. I think somebody from Nym would be able to answer in base of if the need arises for me to take this work upon. So I wouldn't be able to provide an exact answer. What I know for sure, at least for me, let's say the blockchain technology is one of its main aspects is the fact that everybody can access, right, the data. However, in terms of privacy, even in Web 2, all our data is stored, right? Even, let's say, when we Google something on, we browse something on Google, everything in terms of preferences is stored. So in that sense, the privacy issue also applies to the blockchain. Definitely they are, or let's say, parties in the Web3 world that are a bit reluctant to that aspect, because after all, everybody sees its own interest. However, me as a person, I definitely am on the part of, if somebody wants to protect their data should be able to do that, should be able to have a method to do that.
Absolutely. Privacy as a fundamental human right in our digital lives too. And there's a big, we all agree in a sense that there's a big narrative shift that has to happen around that too. And it should, interfere with all current users' usage of the internet in a sense, at least in my perspective.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Evelina, I'm really curious to hear kind of, have you in your previous work experience come across systems that use something like a mixnet before? And if not, like, it'd also be nice to hear kind of what is it about Nym so far that, I know you've just started, but has there been anything particular that's exciting you?
So it's my first time interacting with a privacy product, or cryptography product especially on chain. They are third parties off chain. From my knowledge, didn't interacted with them. And sorry, can you repeat a bit the second part of the question?
Yeah, sure. Is there anything about Nym so far that excites you, or anything in particular that's exciting you about your kind of the work that you're going to be doing?
Yeah, definitely, because working right now, actually, like getting my hands dirty with the code and integrating Nym, making an integration with Nym and MetaMask, it just made me realize that even though I am aware of the importance of the privacy, wasn't looking into that too much in depth. So it just arose in my head some questions. And in terms of what excites me at Nym, reading and assimilating Nym technology is just amazing how Nym as an organization was able to create products that can ensure this privacy. So really excited to put to use my knowledge in order to integrate these products.
Now, back a bit more specifically about MetaMask, because it's a very interesting topic, I think. So I know that you've only started recently, so obviously the nitty gritty is not really set in stone yet of how an integration would work when it comes to MetaMask. But what would the outcome look like? So what would someone using MetaMask through the Nym Mixnet gain from it?
Let's take one aspect, for example, the sending transaction aspects, right? That provide the data is quite accessible on the blockchain. In terms of integrating Nym in that would be intercepting that transaction and passing it through the entire mixnet in order to make it private and then send it to the blockchains. So, and currently I'm concentrating on doing that for Ethereum, but later on, because even yesterday was having some discussions, this integration will be extendable because MetaMask supports a bunch of blockchains and can add actually custom blockchains inside. So it will be possible to extend this integration to other blockchains as well. So in protecting your data sent to the blockchain using Nym as a layer of protection,
as it's supposed to be. Now, there's this may also be a question that is a bit too early. But are there any other wallets that are firmly on your radar that would be easy targets for integration with the Nym Mixnet? Because in general, I would say that wallets as a tool are pretty easy targets for the Nym Mixnet. So the Nym Mixnet is uniquely good at the type of traffic that a wallet needs. So they are probably ripe for integration with the Mixnet. Do you have any other targets that would or like any wallets in mind that would make great for Nym integrations?
Yeah, and I even have done some other integrations on other wallets. There are a couple of wallets out there that we could integrate. What comes to mind, let's say out of the blue, would be a community wallet called Tallyho, 1inch as a wallet. There are some other blockchains with different adoption volume, let's say, that have their own web wallet that are decentralized and on which we could integrate Nym for the privacy level. So definitely, yeah, a lot of wallets, especially on the web extension wallets that can be integrated with Nym.
This is just fantastic to hear for me. We have a question from our audience and from CGI, who's one of the motors of the developer community here, working on no trust verify hacks and services and products. He's asking, like, how are you going to be working together with the Nym DevRel team? If you can share some details about that, are you going to be a part of the team, or you're working separately on this project, or whatever you can, answer. That's how far I'm understanding the question. But CGI, if there's anything you want to specify in this, please do.
I'm not sure yet exactly how I would interact with the dev team. I am already in some calls with them internally, but this probably will still be defined along the way. My main focus now is the MetaMask integration in terms of technical work, because I already have been working with MetaMask. It's easy for me to realize where exactly I need to plug in Nym.
Thank you for that. I hope that answered the question for CGI. Yeah, it did. Thank you. Brilliant to hear. Guys, do we have more technical questions or more questions around the integration part? If you have, please don't be shy and put it in the chat.
I guess for now, while we're waiting for questions from the audience, so an interesting question to me is whether you're doing it all alone. So you're trying to integrate the mixnet into MetaMask without the knowledge of MetaMask, or are you actually talking to MetaMask themselves? How does that work?
I don't talk with MetaMask themselves. They do have documentation, they do have open source libraries, and they do offer the possibility to integrate with them. So I'm working on this MetaMask integration also with my previous experience have done other integrations with MetaMask, but not directly discussing with them. However, if it will come at one point the need for me to contact them, I will do that, definitely.
I'm looking through the community channel. In the meantime, go ahead, Vesta.
Yeah. I'm curious. When you're doing this work, Evelina, is there ever anything you would like users to know, or do you think there's a specific kind of issue or kind of something that for some foresight or something that we're missing out as users, or something you wish we would know when we're connecting between different wallets? And yeah.
From the privacy issue, never share your secret key, never share your secret phrase, your private key or your secret phrase. So never share those. That would be the main aspect I think that everybody is aware about. I wouldn't be able to say exactly in this moment because I'm still grasping Nym's technology, but if along the way I will find any aspect that an end user would know, but definitely this integration will come with the usage instruction on, okay, you need to connect first to MetaMask, you need to connect also to Nym, and so on. So it will come with a flow for end users, but in terms of if there is anything particularly that an end user would know, maybe might arise along the way this aspect. Currently, for the moment, no, there isn't any.
That's great. And I mean, we've got a really active community here, so I think we'd all be really happy to keep that conversation open and share.
Super.
There's another question, guys. Can I just read it out? Do you mind?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Farnush from Amazix is asking, so these kind of practical integrations could be done only to open source apps, or there could be some other ways to have them integrated indirectly, such as Phantom Wallet or Trust Wallet? That's the question.
From my experience and based on which I have worked till now, if they aren't open source wallet or at least accepting contribution to their code, because they are maybe organization out there that aren't quite open source, however they are accepting let's say improvements or different requests, I would probably see it as a integration in which both party needs to put in the work. So it would be a different type of integration, I would assume. For the moment, the Web3 world being so, let's say, opened, and a lot of the code, or at least the external code, because a lot of the organization, besides the internal products and the internal repositories on which the code itself sits internally, and which are private, a lot of the organization offer build up tools, a version of code that are open source.
Thank
I
you.
guess I guess the next community question ties really nicely into this. So, will there be a repo accessible to see how you integrate it? I guess he's talking about MetaMask and possibly other future wallet integrations.
I'm not sure on that question because it wouldn't be a decision that I would make. So probably further along the line, I will be able to provide an answer to that.
That's fair, guys. Keep in mind that Evelina has joined us. How long has it been? 10 days tops.
9 days, actually, 9.
Right. So obviously nothing is set in stone yet, but you've already done some crazy amount of work.
Yep, I already started to get my hands dirty, to say in codes, and start coding actually stuff. Yeah.
Cool. I think we've asked you quite a few technical questions, Evelina. I'd like to transition a little bit and kind of learn a bit more about you. I mean, there's a bio that you had where you used the word multi-directional, and I'd love to know, what does being multi-directional mean to you?
Okay, so sorry, do you hear me? Okay, cool. I will start, let's say, from saying when I was a child, a lot of people were telling me that I need to find something that I'm good and just perfect with that and stick with that. The problem was that I had a lot of interests. I liked also painting, I liked also drawing, I liked sewing and so on. And I couldn't choose only one direction. So it took me some good amount of years realizing that it isn't my way of being and I need to define my own way. And I accepted that I am multi-directional, and this multi-direction aspect of me manifests in what sense? For example, this manifests both in my professional life as well as my personal life and hobbies and so on. And let's say if I would to make, this is why the integration niche actually suits me. If I would to work for 10 years on the exact task repeatedly every day, I would probably go nuts. So this is why for me integrations and having this fluidity and this possibility of working on tons of different other aspects is what translates in multi-directional. And in the same sense, also in my personal life, because who knows me knows that my range of hobbies is so diverse, from tarot, the cards that I have behind me. You don't see me now on camera, usually in meetings. Yeah, and all sort of, let's say, spirituality stuffs, to taekwondo, kickboxing, to skydiving, to playing my guitar, or to drawing. So my interests are very diverse, and I could not choose only one of them because that was just would break my heart.
Oh wow, I love that. I think that resonates quite a lot, and it's cool seeing in this space, particularly just so many people with interests like that. So yeah, it's really cool to learn that about you.
Yeah, I just want to add that you're going to find really good friends in this community, I think, with being multi-directional and horizontal and holistic. Those are words many of us cherish deeply. So thanks for being here.
Nice.
Also, that's quite a list of hobbies you have there. God, that's an insane list. And also, as someone who's also interested in everything and anything, basically, I can definitely relate to most jobs being not really great for someone like that. So it's really interesting based on our conversation so far. So the one that we had in preparation for this community call, and also just now that now what you shared, it really shows how this specific line of work, integrations, right, is really suited for you because it involves all sorts of different things. It's never the same process. It's never the same. It's never the same idea. It's never the same method. It's really interesting. I'm glad you find yourself in it.
Yeah. Is very diverse from one integration to another, and from one organization to another, from one tool to another. So the advantage, or let's say the aspects that for me make this work very exciting, is exactly this diversity. However, it does come with disadvantages because For example, being able to code in multiple languages, being able to pass from one tool to another, might at one point leave some technical knowledge behind. For example, I was formed at the base as a .NET developer, and some good years ago, I developed along 2 other people in an organization an entire application from scratch. But now, if I would to code something in .NET, because in my last years I have coded in JavaScript, TypeScript, React, and so on, it would take me a while. However, in this line of in this niche, let's say, once you assimilate a knowledge, you can return back to that knowledge and let's say get back into that zone, as I call it, of using that particular technology.
That's really cool to hear, especially if things change so quickly, like assimilating that knowledge and moving forward. Yeah, it's really, really incredible. I'm curious to know, like, do you have like a memory or an experience which you recall as something that was like a turning point in how you think about technology?
How I think about technology, I don't think I have an experience, but I do have a life experience that it's, let's say, as a general technology aspect, is a quite old, let's say, experience. In my 20s, at one point, because I have done the computer science faculty here in Romania, and at one point, my direction, my life path was because I wanted, actually, not because the life was throwing me in that direction, because I was stubborn and I was going to a totally different path than technology-wise. I was going on in army and totally different area. However, life as it is, it just made me return without me even acknowledging it in technology and in coding and in software and so on. So definitely for me as an experience that was a turning point was realizing that actually that was my path, even though I was stubborn and was putting a lot of resistance to it. But regardless of what I have done back then, and regardless of the fact that I was dreaming for myself an army life, it just turned me back into this technological area.
I'm just listening to you. Like, I'm super happy to hear similar, I don't know, like experience-based learnings articulate across the globe. And I would just want to ask you one thing, because what I find the hardest is I'm also fighting my own path, and I think we all do fight our own path, going forward. And what is there a good piece of advice what you could give to all of us? What helped you to follow what's out there for you, or to be happy about the decision that you made, or around that, anything what comes to mind?
Besides the fact that time in general is temporary, at least in this physical dimension, I would say just search in within and find exactly what makes you happy. We are different, each one of us. We are all of us have our own faults, have our own skills, and discovering yourself and, let's say, exploring exactly what you want, what really brings you joy and happiness, and not just as a superficial level, but really in depth, looking really, really down there in depth in your soul, makes you know yourself, makes you realize what you want to do, makes you evolve. And another thing that I would say is, we never stop growing, we never stop evolving, we never stop assimilating information, even when we breathe, just by being from everything that surrounds us. So just don't beat yourself up. It's normal to have from time to time backsides, to have moments that maybe when energy is low, or maybe when human things or human aspects take over us, but definitely do not give up and be indulgent with yourselves. That would be my only advice that I would give.
That's a fantastic advice, and I just wanna maybe reflect on two things. That I have this little post on my fridge. I'm gonna read it out, which I read every day when I go in for the fridge for eggs and stuff. And like, what did you most enjoy doing as a child? Do you get those feelings now? And this is what came up in my mind, because it's somehow like our true calling should be done with fun, and we should really enjoy that. And that's like the whole childhood memories of just doing things for the sake of doing them, not worrying about money or how is it good for the world or all that. So yeah, oh my god, super happy to hear this. Last time.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead, Elena.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just following your true feeling, but not in a superficial way, because as humans, we sometimes tend to be taken over by different aspects, by what stuff that happen in the world. I will give a small analogy. For example, what happens in Ukraine with Russia, it will put a lot of trauma, but that doesn't mean it should generate further on other aspects, because as human being, if we guide ourselves based on the exact feeling that you are mentioning, of that excitement feeling of a child, it could not go in a direction, in a wrong or in a toxic direction. I hope I'm explaining okay what I want to mean.
Yes.
But just guiding yourself by let's call it sixth sense, something like that, but being genuine, a true genuine happiness feeling.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Vesta, you had a question, I think.
Yeah, no, I think it's really cool hearing about how you approach things and how you think about things. I might jump back into a bit more of a technical thing, but like I kind of now understanding learning a little bit more about you. And you seem to know a lot of coding languages. What do you have any inkling or any kind of feeling for the future of coding, or what shape that might take form in the coming years, or is anything you'd like to see?
I would really like to see the blockchain technology be inserted in a lot of industry. For example, currently, blockchain as technology is, and we are focusing also on the DeFi part, and that is normal because, let's face it, financial aspects are a part of the engine of this world, not the entire one, but they are an important part of it. So definitely decentralization in terms of financial aspect is needed. Same for the moment, the blockchain technology is immersed in the NFT and Web3 games industry. However, I would really like to see the technology, the entire technology behind also other type of software, for example, insurances or medical software, because the part of the data in technical aspect that blockchain as technology does can be applicable to a lot of different industries. Imagine bioenergy software being through the blockchain. So I just can't wait. I'm sure it will take some good amount of years, maybe 10, less or more, hopefully less. But I think, and I really hope, that blockchain as technology and the entire Web3 world will expand itself on other industries.
I totally agree with that, and it's interesting that you brought up the distinction between the financial aspect of the world, which is obviously really important, and it's something that blockchain technology is uniquely good at, right? Because it's anything record keeping. Blockchain as a technology is really great at it, and obviously one of the greatest record keeping that humanity is doing is bookkeeping, which is money basically. So obviously there's a clear path for blockchain tech there to revolutionize things. But do you have anything specific in mind as to what else would you, other than the few things that you listed, that you would like to be revolutionized by blockchain, and what would be helped the most by blockchain tech as opposed to what we currently have?
I really hope the bioenergy will implement it, because looking at what happens in the world in general, with the global warming, with everything else, with carbon, with a lot of things that are happening, I would definitely would like to see blockchain as technology being inserted not only in bioenergy, but in all bio-friendly, let's call it like that, software products, or maybe replace them, maybe entirely.
Wow. Yes, please. Where can I sign up for that smart contract? Yeah, I wanted to ask you, there's a recurring theme here where we really like to ask our new Nym team members or new guests about books that they read or books that they recommend, and kind of part of that, poking around, we assembled a kind of like an open library. So I would have two questions for you: that what books you would recommend all of us may read, and the other one, if you could have a look and maybe propose some of these books to be added to the Undystopian Alexandria, which is a shared pool of knowledge, hopefully in the future.
Yeah, I would recommend books on two different aspects. I'm currently, because of my multidirectional human being typology, my problem is finding time. So usually I read a bit books only in holidays, and let's say I'm reading half now, half in 4 months, and so on. But currently I'm reading a book called 4 Days Week. So I would totally recommend for anybody for just evolving from both spiritual and financially and as an individual, books on two different aspects. On financial education, because it's important. I know it might sound rough, it might sound bad, but unfortunately we live in a world that is conducted, let's say, by material aspect, and it's okay, it's normal. So I would suggest a lot of financial education books, like The First Man from Babylon, the Smart Investor, 4 Days Week. There are what is called that one, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and so on. There are a bunch of books on financial education. And I would also recommend, for me especially, that what helped me to, let's put it in quotes, make peace, if that sounds good, with the world, with me, and finding myself, were a lot of books on spirituality, on New Age, but from a rather different area. Like Eckhart Tolle is one of the Bible, and let's Bibles in quotes. I don't want to offend. I have my own Bible, so don't get me wrong. Don't want to enter in that matter, in that topic, but definitely books that help on self-development, regardless of the, let's say, type of the self-development, because they are out there, so many of them on different aspects and different spectrums. But any book that helps you grow and helps you form a mentality, helps you find your way in life, helps you figuring out and discovering who we are as individual in all aspects, professional, personal, in absolutely all aspects. All those books, I recommend them. And I also recommend for, let's say, period of time when one wants to disconnect, for me especially, that this works. I read a lot of sci-fi books or fantastic books with aliens, vampires, and so on, when I want to disconnect from this material world, when I just want to be in a fantasy world, let's call it like that.
Fantastic. That's like, thank you so much for this. I'm also a huge sci-fi fantasy fan, but the problem came when I started reading proper cyberpunk sci-fis, which is kind of a little bit both. And I'm sometimes feeling that we're living in one of these cyberpunk sci-fi novels where all blockchain and all these cloud technologies and sensors and even AI now. It's kind of, weird and creepy in a good way that future comes to be.
So let's not forget that Vesta writes sci-fi, right?
Oh,
Vesta.
yes.
Yeah, no, I think for a lot of us, like it's such a fun way, like you said, Evelina, to like disconnect, but also to speculate into the future. And I can't say I read as much, but I do like writing and writing poems and stuff. But yeah, we all have our own ways to disconnect.
Definitely, and none of the ways is wrong. From my point of view, each individual needs to find his own particular way, and that way that finds is just perfect for him or she or their.
Yeah.
And somehow there's a very comforting feeling in finding a group of individuals who already find their own truth and own perspectives and own, kind of routines or rituals or faith. And then we come together and we kind of all in our own little zone, happy and fulfilled in a way, developing constantly, that we can come together and create something more. So,
I think in a way that also helps motivate me to come back into the work that I do and stuff. And so I guess maybe that can lead into another question for you, Evelina. Like, what does motivate you on like a day-to-day basis when you kind of open up your laptop or your computer and you're about to start doing something?
My biggest motivation is that our time here is limited. And it can be also disadvantages because it might bring pressure for people around me, because I don't want to waste my time on this earth for nothing. Unfortunately, this aspect sometimes puts me in a zone or in a mood where I'm overworking myself or getting too exhausted. So that would be a downside. But definitely for me, the fact that our time here in this dimension, in this life, is limited is what motivates me, because I want to enjoy this ride called life in all its aspects: good, bad, sufferance, happiness, everything.
That's a wonderful answer. Thank you.
Sorry if I
No,
put you down a bit.
no.
I tend sometimes to speak to go to philosophical.
Perfect.
I wish you'd see my face. I'm like smiling and like, I'm like it's releasing just this like super nice and fluffy feeling. So not at all, you didn't put me down. I'm just such in a nice, I don't know, safe and supported feeling that, do we have, so let's go.
No, I'm curious, Evelina, is there anything you'd like to ask the community here? I mean, we've been having over 50 people consistently. There's like 58 incredible people right now. Is there anything you'd like to know from the community, or any kind of message you'd like to share maybe?
Yeah, I would like to share a message because I encounter this a lot. Doesn't mean is applicable to everybody and doesn't mean is something that is suitable for everybody, but I do encounter a lot of change resistance in general from people. Just change, getting out of the comfort zone, it's scary for a lot of people. I'm the opposite. For me, being stuck in the same zone, in the same aspect, would kill me. And I am aware people are different, but sometimes I do encounter a lot of resistance from people around me, in general, from people. So one thing that I would, let's say, put a interrogative question, like maybe, or to throw something out there for the community to think about is, if they encounter a problem, what would they do? Because in this life, it's only one problem that doesn't have solutions. So what would one do if is faced to a problem?
There are no problems, just challenges. That's what we say around here.
Exactly.
And on that note, I think it's time to bring this community call to a close. Huge thanks for coming on, Evelina. This has been great, and I'll hope to have you on at some point in the future to talk a bit more about your work with MetaMask and also all the other super great topics that we touched on today. So huge thanks for coming on. Any closing remarks?
Thank you for having me. Just very excited to have started this work, and really excited because I had some breakthroughs the other days on how exactly the integration will work. So I'm very excited for the next week to start and get more my hands dirty in the code. Let's call it like that. So super excited. That's just my last let's say remark. Very excited to be able to build and offer this to the world.
On that note, Evelina, if you have any question you want to share with more people, feel free to leave it in the Discord. We're constantly keeping one eye on it at least, so we will be more than happy to support you with anything that you need for your work.
Also,
Great, thank you so much.
one thing I can already promise I will support you with, I will never ever write or like schedule random meetings with you so that you can block those times off for deep work. That's a promise on my part.
That's okay. As I'm fluid. I'm adaptable, and I know there are days when some we can focus more on some aspects, and there are other days when we are more distracted. From my point of view, as long as a well balanced flow and we achieve the goals that we put, definitely I'm very flexible and very fluid. So don't worry about that.
Amen. And on that note, this community call has come to an end. This was the first one for this year, with one more to come every single week. As you may know, the same time, same channel, every single week. And as usual, the call was recorded. So you may notice in the audience are dear recording bots, Craig and Gark. I'm going to be downloading the recording and then uploading it to YouTube. Huge thanks also for my co-hosts for coming on for this first community call, with many more to come. How did you guys feel?
Thank you. That was great. And also just wanted to thank everyone for sticking around here. There's a lot of people in the audience still, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah, likewise. I really enjoyed it, and I'm really happy that we had you, Evelina, here for our first community call together. So it was fantastic, and thank you all, guys.
One last
Thank
thing
you.
one last thing that many of you have been waiting for, which is the PO-ups. So you can claim your PO-up as usual for this call by going to the claim attendance NFT channel, which is straight above the stage that we're currently on. So just go there and follow the instructions. They are there in a very simple GIF, and you can claim your PO-up for this event. And with that, I would like to let you go for the week. Have a lovely weekend, everybody, and catch you next week.
See you guys.
See you.
Bye, everyone.